No NBA tonight, but I still have 3 formats in today's video: MLB, NHL, and CS2. But first, let's recap last night. We came close, obviously not on this first slip with Edwards and Mike Conley. They both ended up going over in this case, so 1 and 3 slip there. But it was the second slip that was looking very nice. So this goalie combo on the over half a goal allowed in the first 10 minutes did hit, and within that goal, Panarin did get the assist. So that's exactly the correlation I was going for. If either team scored, I was hoping that either one of these guys were going to get an assist within that first 10 minutes. So these two cashed first 10 minutes, looking very nice. Barkov cashed a little bit later, and Kreider could not get that last point. It was a 2-2 game, so pretty low scoring. Then the Rangers lost in overtime 3-2. So very unfortunate on that. We were real close. To start this first format, I'm going to be going over to the NHL and grabbing a same stack to what I took last game. Unfortunately, didn't hit last game, but hoping it does tonight. Connor McDavid on his over 1.5 points. And we're stacking this up with another player on his line, which would be Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on his over half an assist. I explained this on Monday's video, but just to go over it quickly again, these guys are on the same lineup. So if you go over to the Edmonton Oilers, you have this website that tells you who's on the same line. You see Connor McDavid at the center position, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at the left wing position. On top of that, they are on the same power play unit. So these guys are getting a lot of time on ice together, which is very important because in NHL, a point is a goal or an assist. So for Connor McDavid, we need him to score or get assists. For Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, we need him to assist. So what could happen is, since these guys are playing so often together, if Ryan Nugent-Hopkins does assist a Connor McDavid goal, that would clear his assist line, and that would also give 1 out of the 2 points for Connor McDavid. On top of that, if Connor McDavid passes to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins passes to Hyman, for example, and Hyman scores, that is an assist for both of them. Again, 1 out of 2 points for Connor McDavid, and the assist cleared for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And the idea is that if Connor McDavid does clear his over 1.5 points, it's way more likely that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins got an assist on at least one of those 2 points. Like I just explained, there's 2 ways to get that. Either he's assisting Connor McDavid's goal, or they're both assisting Zach Hyman's goal or anyone else on that specific lineup. And you could see the relation between these guys in the recent games. And I'll show you in the past 5 games graph, at least 60% in the past 5, they did clear this prop together. So in game 1, 3, and 4, they went within the same direction. So green here, and red here. And you'll see the same thing on Connor McDavid if we go over to his prop. Green here, and a red here. So 3 to 5 games, same direction, whether that's over, or under. Unfortunately, didn't hit last game, as I said, but we're hoping that it does tonight. And of course, the juice is in the favor of both these players. You can see Connor McDavid with very nice juice towards the over, all the way up at minus 132. That's great to see to start. And then we could go over to Nugent-Hopkins. He actually doesn't have juice towards the over or the under. But again, because we're stacking him with Connor McDavid's points, if Connor McDavid is getting points, it's more likely that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is getting that assist. So although it's 50-50, with that correlation effect, it is no longer 50-50, which is why we're grabbing the double over. I love this stack, and I'm probably going to be playing it every game as long as it's on the Prizepicks boards. So that is the first stack of this slip. We're going to be going over to CS2 to finish it off, and I found some very nice value in a later game. Both these games are pretty late, by the way, guys, so you should be able to get this full slip in. Both these games are at 7 p.m. Eastern and after. So let's go into this one. The first pick I'm going with is this guy, Stewie 2K, on his over 22.5 map 1-2 kills. He plays for G2. As you guys know, when we're playing CS2 correlation, we want to grab the opponent's team on that same direction. So since we're going over on Stewie, we want to grab an over on the other team. And in this case, I'm going with this guy, Naf, on his over 29.5 map 1-2 kills. Now, why am I going with Naf instead of Yakindar or Skulls or any of these other players? Because if you compare the lines to Underdog, you're going to see we're getting the most value on these 2 players. Stewie is set at 24 map 1-2 kills on Underdog. We're getting him at 22.5 on Prizepicks. That's a full kill and a half extra that we're getting of an advantage on Prizepicks. And Naf is the exact same thing. We're getting 1.5 kills of value, 29.5 on Prizepicks, 31 on Underdog. So why would I go on Underdog and take his over when I can go and get 1.5 kills extra, which is pretty crucial in esports on that side. And of course, there's always that correlation effect between these 2 players. If these maps end up being both longer, where there's more rounds, potentially an OT, well, then you're going to see more kills for both these players. That is going to be the first slip. I'm really liking this one. Probably my favorite one of the day. Now we're going to go over to MLB and make a stack here, as well as another CS2 stack to make this into a nice format. The first pick I'm going with is George Springer on his over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. And we're going to be pairing this up with Turner on his over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. Let's take a look at the batting order for Toronto tonight. And you're going to see they're close to each other there. Expected to be batting 5th for Turner and expecting to batting 6th for Springer. What I like most about this, as always, is the juice. Minus 130 towards the over for Springer. And the same thing for Justin Turner, minus 130 on his over too. On top of that, it's an easy matchup versus the White Sox. So the more that the Toronto Blue Jays are looping through their batters, the more likely it is these guys get some extra at-bats. And of course, if they both get 5 at-bats each, it's more likely that they clear their over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. which is why there is juice towards the over on these sports books. It's not like I'm telling you something revolutionary here. It's pretty simple concept to understand. Let's go over to the Blue Jays and just check what is their expected runs. And they're expected to get around 4 or 5 runs, which is plenty enough for these guys to clear their hits, runs, RBIs. And like I said, if they end up overachieving, that's only going to give them more at-bats for those specific guys. Now to finish this slip off, I'm going to go over to Valorant. It's the same exact correlation in Valorant as it is in CS2, so I'm not going to explain it, but I'm going to be grabbing a double under. So we're going for Oxygen Esports versus M80. We're going to take an under on one of the players from Oxygen Esports and an under on a player from the other team. Now if you're watching this after 4 p.m. Eastern, this Valorant pick will already have started, so you'll only be left with like these 2 picks. But I'll show you what you could do with these 2 guys. If you are watching later, you could turn it into a nice 6-man with the other 4-man I'm about to create. But anyways, let's finish off this slip. We're going BCJ on his under 27.5 map 1-2 kills. And we're going with Mitch on his under 26.5 map 1-2 kills. Again, I'm comparing these lines to underdog because I'm seeing where could we at least get a point of value. BCJ on Prizepicks is 27.5. On underdog, he's 26.5. And if I were to show you Nismo, for example, the reason we're not grabbing him is because it's the exact same thing on Prizepicks and underdog. So you might as well get that kill of value on Prizepicks. So that is for BCJ. Then for Mitch, same concept, 26.5 on Prizepicks, 25.5 on underdog. Now I'm going to go over to this last format, and it's going to be a same game quad stack. We're actually riding with Oakland tonight, and I know it's not really a team that you really want to be riding with, but we're going with a triple stack on their over total bases, and then we're going to be taking the opponent pitcher on his under. It'll make sense once the slip is fully built out, but the first one's going to be JJ Bleeday on his over half a total base. Second one is Max on his over half a total base. And as you can imagine, we're grabbing another total base on Seth Brown on his over half a total base. Now, why does this make sense? Because if Oakland is doing well, like I just explained with the whole Justin Turner and Toronto Blue Jays, if they are doing well, it's more likely that these guys get more at-bats. And an additional at-bat for each of these guys is absolutely crucial. And you only get additional at-bats if your team is hitting the ball and doing very well, maybe scoring runs. And you might think that Oakland is not the best team to do this with, but the fact is these guys all have their lines priced low compared to other teams. Because if you go to Philly or like San Diego or one of those top hitter teams, the Dodgers, those guys always have their line set at like 1.5 bases. Oakland is a team that's not getting many hits, they're not getting many runs, you know, they're not the best team in the world, but that is why their lines are set at half a total base. So it's not unrealistic for these guys to all clear within the same game. And when they do have a good game, I'll show you this one. This game was less than a week ago. Yes, it was up against the Rockies, but they scored 10 runs. And you can see these guys actually got 6 and 5 at-bats. And you can see Bleeday got 1 hit right there. That is exactly what we're looking for. Seth Brown got 3 hits that game. And Max got 3 hits that game. Obviously, we don't need 3 hits each. We just need 1 each. And basically, their whole team got a hit this game except for Brent Rooker. And obviously, this is an extreme example, but you get the point. And since we're hammering Oakland tonight, we want to go with the under pitcher strikeouts for the opponent. So in this case, it's going to be Ryan Pepio here. We're going to go with the under 6.5 pitcher strikeouts. And this is kind of what got me started on this whole play in the first place. I'm loving the under 6.5 strikeouts on him because if you go over to Bet365, for example, you're going to see juice on his under at 6.5. If you go over to Pinnacle, you're also going to see the same thing. Minus 129 juice on the under pitcher strikeouts. So not only does he already have juice on it, but if these guys are actually getting their bases, it's going to mean 2 things. His pitch count is going to be going higher. He's probably going to be allowing more runs than expected. And he's not going to be striking them out because they're getting hits to get on base. So you can see how this is perfectly correlated. And although we're not going for the best team in the MLB to go over their bases, it still makes sense because they are priced low since they're not the best team in the MLB. So this is going to be the full 4-man, but like I said, if you are watching the video a bit later and you missed the esports, you could go with the Springer and Turner combo here and turn this into a nice 6-man that is going to pay 25x. For those of you who are seeing the video on time and see this before 4 p.m. and can get everything in, I would just play this as a 4-man. So that is going to be 3 4-mans for you guys. Good luck tonight.